This is New Delhi, India. This is Beijing, China. China and India are two of the world's largest carbon emitters. The two countries and others surrounding Asian countries produce so much air pollution that a massive cloud of smog permanently hangs over South Asia and the Indian Ocean. This cloud of toxic chemicals and CO2 is called the Asian brown cloud. The cloud is a toxic mixture of carbon dioxide and industrial pollutants caused by power plants, manufacturing, traffic, and the burning of biomass. This is Calgary, Alberta. These are the Rocky Mountains of Canada. Aside from yearly wildfires, which some have argued are caused by climate change, Western Canada has some of the cleanest air on planet Earth, as well as one of the world's largest supplies of fresh water. Alberta is also home to the now infamous oil sands, which are one of the largest economic engines of Canada, or at least they were up until 2016.
And what do you and your family do to cut back on plastics?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of when we have water bottles out of a plastic, away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles sort of things. There's a number of choices we can make as consumers.
On a global level, Canada is one of the world's smallest carbon emitters. Some scientists have even claimed that our abundance of boreal forests and rainforests negate the amount of carbon in the atmosphere that is produced by our oil industry. So, if this is indeed true, why are Canadians being forced to pay a carbon tax, while countries like India and China continue to wreak havoc on the environment without any real consequences? Under the guise of being revenue neutral, Justin Trudeau's federal carbon tax aims to put more money into government coffers in the long term. This serves to fund Liberal promises and Trudeau's massive deficits, which are planned to stretch far beyond 2022. You'll notice that the Trudeau government is sending hundreds of millions of our tax dollars to other countries, in some cases to fund abortion, and in other cases to fund green initiatives in Africa and several third world countries. Trudeau's current revenue-neutral scheme refunds wealthier Canadians less than low-income Canadians. But over time, there's no guarantee rebates will happen at all for anyone, as the Trudeau government has left the door open to future adjustments and modifications to this so-called carbon tax rebate. Trudeau's current scheme can be best described as wealth redistribution. It takes money from wealthier classes while giving more to low-income earners. However, the amounts are hardly enough to pay anyone's rent, especially in the face of rising gas prices, heating prices, and living costs, all driven by a rising carbon tax. On a global scale, carbon taxes are designed to take from the wealthier nations and to have funds in the hundreds of millions redistributed to poorer nations. This is why Canada has a carbon tax, and why small, poor countries in Africa and Asia don't. By taking from wealthy Canadians and Europeans, the United Nations plans to use climate change and carbon taxes as a means to infuse poor nations around the world with new money to fund infrastructure, green initiatives, and education. It all sounds good-natured, but such schemes have never worked in the past. Instead, similar wealth redistribution schemes have only made wealthier nations more poor, while funneling money into the pockets of dictators and governments that never end up sharing any of their wealth with their people. Case in point, the Congo's Grand Inga Dam, which has been dogged by unexplained delays and obstacles, while hundreds of millions worth of international funding vanish into a black hole. The Grand Inga Dam, still in its study phase, has already consumed hundreds of millions of international dollars before its actual construction has even begun. Many experts and skeptics have said that the dam will never be built, given the high levels of endemic corruption within the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yet, carbon taxes are being imposed on wealthy countries, so dictators and corrupt governments like the DRC can become wealthy while their citizens continue to suffer.
There is no country on the planet that can walk away from the challenge and reality of climate change.
British Columbia is currently seeing record-breaking gasoline prices. Prices like these are putting hardworking commuters at a disadvantage, while making politicians like John Horgan and Justin Trudeau rich. It's allowing big spending governments to buy votes with grandiose promises and handouts, while forcing families to cut back on heating and gas, while paying more for groceries, which are all made more expensive due to rising transport costs, which are caused by rising carbon taxes. Almost immediately after Jason Kenney abolished Alberta's carbon tax, gas prices in the province plummeted by nearly 23 cents per litre. But worry not if you live in Alberta. Justin Trudeau's promised to impose a federal carbon tax on Alberta no later than January 1st, 2020. It's all a part of Trudeau's climate plan, which experts have said won't even meet the Paris Agreement's emission targets. Whether you believe in man-made climate change or not, the facts are the same. Justin Trudeau's carbon tax is a scam. If you believe in climate change, his carbon tax won't do a damn thing for you. If you don't believe in climate change, your life is being made more expensive and less sustainable by unnaturally inflated gas prices, which in turn increase inflation across the board and make life less affordable. Of course, this is also true for those who believe in man-made climate change. Regardless of what you believe, there's still a massive brown cloud of smog hanging over Asia. Paying a carbon tax in Canada won't make it disappear. Yes, Toronto sometimes has smog, but that could be taken care of by local municipal policies and initiatives. In case you haven't seen the sky in Alberta and BC, let's not make Toronto's periodic smog problem everyone else's problem. Air pollution is a real thing, regardless of climate change. It's something that is best tackled on a local level. Residents in Vancouver being forced to pay an unreasonable price for gas won't solve Toronto's issues with air quality. Pollution is a real problem, but not everywhere. For the most part, Canadians have the cleanest air, the strongest environmental practices, and some of the most respectful global citizens. Our oil industry is the cleanest in the world. That's indisputable. Furthermore, it's the most ethical. While Saudi Arabia beheads its own citizens and puts their bodies on display for the public to see, Canadians are producing some of the world's cleanest and most ethical petroleum products. It's not us who need to be punished. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification icon. That'll make sure you never miss a new video from Political. While you're at it, like us on Facebook.